What's up, War Report family? Your man Ike Jones here. The Midweek Rapport. We are going to get this thing kicked off. Talking a little Auburn basketball tonight. Basketball team is currently leading against LSU. But the question for tonight is, can this Auburn team make a run down the stretch? We'll talk about that. We'll get into a little bit of football. Man, C-Dub has the night off. So, hey, got to listen a little bit more Ike Jones. But we're going to get straight into it right here on the Midweek Rapport. What's up, people? Your man Ike Jones here, Mike G here, my guy B Will in the place to be. We are here, Auburn basketball going on right now. Hopefully you guys are able to do double duty. Listen, man, come in here. We can talk about the game while it's on. If you see me peeking over here to the side, it's because I'm watching the game. But, man, make sure you're doing the necessary things, which are sharing the video right now at the War Report, hashtag get your weight up. Special shout out to our guy this morning was on with us, JG Tate with auburnsports.com. They are our sponsor for the Midweek Report. Good to have JG Tate in here on the morning drop with us. Fellas, how y'all feeling tonight, man?
I'm feeling pretty good. You know what? I know basketball is on, but I'm really excited about a lot of things on the football front that we've been talking about lately. So if you haven't been catching these morning drops, there's still a lot happening for it to be still only January.
Right.
And then going into February, the storylines will continue to build as position battles start. And I'm excited to see how everything fleshes out.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to seeing some more stuff out there on the football field. B Will, you feeling all right, man?
Feeling all right. Encouraged by the first half. Yeah. Better than it could be worse.
Definitely could be worse. Yeah, definitely could be worse. If you're watching the video right now, go ahead and throw us a like, subscribe to the channel, man. We're trying to get those subscriptions up on the quest for 10,000 subs to our YouTube channel, which is crazy to think that we'd be in this position based on the slow start that we had to the channel. But so thankful to all of you who are out there continuing to keep us in front of people. Listen, man, happy to report my begging on the last live that we did wasn't the last live. It was the morning drop on Monday. Was it the morning drop Monday that I did my begging?
It was on Tuesday.
My Tuesday morning drop. Yeah. So yesterday's morning drop, I made an appeal. I won't call it begging. I made an appeal, and then we made sort of an emotional appeal from Mike G. But it at least got the coach's attention. Coach Hugh Freeze actually responded to the tweet. So maybe coach will like tune into a rapport, you know, and check us out one time when we're just in here talking on a live at some point in time. He'll be like, oh, these guys are pretty cool or whatever. Watch a couple of episodes and you will see him here on a building rapport. So thank y'all for bothering him on social media for us and retweeting that. But we got his attention. Good job, War Report family. You guys came through.
You proof that Hugh Freeze is playing 40 chess out here in these streets. He's recognizing, I think maybe that in his opening presser, Ike, he said, allow me the chance to earn your trust, right? And I think that this is part of the process, is connecting with the fans through the outlets that they listen to, right? And so, you know, certainly, you know, we may not have the biggest following, but I think we have a large following that, you know, watches and listens to us and goes, you know, comes to the War Report to get information, you know, on their favorite program. So, you know, I appreciate, you know, once that happens, you know, if he's listening to this all of a sudden after that tweet, we're grateful and humbled by any time that he gives us. The last coach gave us 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
right? He may not have 2.5 hours for us, but we'll take any time.
There is a joke that exists right there that I'm not going to say about the coach having a lot of time, but
well, hopefully he's making the time for us.
Yeah.
But he's been on the road recruiting, and doing the job and giving us something positive to talk about in this interview.
Yeah.
Right. So again, whatever storylines existed before he got hired, I'm just happy that we're talking football now, right? And he's giving us a chance to talk football, if you ask me. With the job that he's done on the recruiting trail and the efforts that he's made to try to, again, earn our trust. Or earn the trust of the fan base. So
definitely appreciate everybody who has been helping us to get in front of Coach Hugh Freeze, and definitely appreciate the job he and his staff have done thus far early in the tenure. But listen, man, if early returns are any indication of what we're going to get later, because you got to put in the work right now in order to see the results later. Now it's time to see what the practice of habits are going to be like, how they're going to be running through, and making sure people are proficient in doing their jobs on the field. If the job in recruiting is going to be anything like the job on the field, then we can expect a good product in the fall.
I think that's fact.
Yep.
All right. So let's talk a little basketball. I don't know how composed I'm going to be as the game is on right now. Second half just now starting. Auburn out here playing some tenacious defense to start. But what have you guys had a chance to look at the first half of this game at all?
Just a few minutes here and there as I prepared to get on the show, but I have been keeping up with the social media feed, saw some highlights. I did see my guy Leo Berman get on the floor.
The
only person who wants Leo Berman to play regardless of the hit to defense.
Listen, he has played well, man. This year, I've seen Leo play better defense, actually. He's still not fleet of foot, but he's played well on the defensive end. And I've liked what I've seen from him as far as just knowing where he needs to be on the court and understanding how to take shots that are flowing to him in the offense. And that's what you really need from him.
Two players went to the presser this for LSU.
Yeah, Lior. This is the first time I think I've seen him go to a presser.
Yeah, Jalen and Lior, right? And so he talked about what it was like to see his role expand, in this offense, as with Westry kind of out and hampered by an injury.
Chris Moore as well being down.
Yeah. So this will be real interesting to see how this pans out for Auburn. Is 14-3, and we're sitting here thinking, I don't know how good this team is, right? So I think that's the level to which Bruce Pearl's raised the expectations, to not Broom with the teardrop.
Nice.
We need to see more of that in the second half from him. If he gets going, that's going to be a problem for LSU in the second half of this game.
Yeah, I agree. LSU doesn't seem like they're very good this year. Obviously, Will Wade, I think, was a good coach. Nice three from them right there.
But he's a good coach, cheating, but he's good.
Right. And, I mean, X's and O's on the basketball court, though. I mean,
Will Wade's a good coach. I say that in jest. Like, cheating is a thing that a lot of places. I'm not going to talk too much about that, but yeah, X's and O's wise, he's a good coach.
Yeah, he was a good coach, but they had an exodus of talent. Ike, you and I talked about this off camera, and this is not a very good team. So this is a team Auburn needs to beat.
For sure.
Right. This is a team Auburn needs to beat. I think they play down to the competition at times. And if this, we're just past mid-season here. And I think if this is the start of them, and I'm saying this as LSU is making a run, if this is the start of them starting to gel as a team and figure out what they have, hopefully we see some good basketball down the stretch. Right. So Bruce is turned up right now.
He should be. His team's not playing well.
Oh my God. Okay. So anyway, Auburn basketball 14-3. They'll be a tournament team. I think they'll be a tournament team. I don't think that's a question at this point right now, unless they go on a losing streak down the stretch.
Right.
But I can't see it right now. I think Alabama is the class of the SEC right now in basketball. They look every bit as dominant, right, as the scores suggest. And they're great from 3-point land this year. So Auburn, like, if you haven't checked, guys, Auburn versus Alabama tickets on February 11th, standing room only, is $290. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Standing room only. If you want to sit, if you want the pleasure of sitting down to watch the game, you're going to be coming out like $350. And if you want to do it on the lower level, there are $900 tickets to this game.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's definitely going to be a game that's going to be heavily attended, heavily watched. Both of those teams should come into that ranked unless Auburn does some really ridiculous things between now and then, like losing this game.
Can you imagine? Oh, nice block.
My God. That's not a nice block. Oh, it was a nice block on our end. I see. You're a little bit ahead of me.
Yeah. Oh, so if you look at it this way,
they
right?
Goaltend though.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
It looked close. Like, can you imagine 2-loss Bama versus 3-loss Auburn going into that game?
Yeah.
That's going to be prime time. And in the jungle, I like that first game's in the jungle because I don't know. Like, they need to get
I know what you was gonna say.
Yeah.
Thank you for being a fan and not saying it out loud.
Yeah, I just think, I had to catch myself there. But let's just say it's gonna be a tough game. And I think that if they're gonna get one, that's the out of the two that they play them, that's the one they need to get. For sure. Now listen, what's their arena called?
Is it Coleman?
I think
Coleman.
It's
Coleman Coliseum. Yeah. That's not exactly an intimidating environment. Like,
it's a big space. I mean, it's a big arena, but because they're not basketball fans, and this is the thing I hate so much about sports in general. Is like you get these bandwagon people who want to just act as if they've been with the team this entire time. Like Bama fans last year, again, they tried to convince us basketball didn't matter when they weren't good.
That's a fact.
And because that's all you heard from them is, man, well, football is the only thing that matters after when we, dump your team. And then now all of a sudden everybody want to act like they're supportive of the basketball team. You're not.
Mm-hmm. All right,
Flanagan is playing ball, man.
Yeah,
Flanagan is playing basketball right now. And I love to see it because he's a guy that we need to be able to contribute offensively. He's been a lot better defensively, but we need him to contribute offensively a lot more than he had been.
Yeah.
Hey man, y'all gotta stop reacting.
I'm sorry, man.
I'm like 2 seconds. I'm like in front, and I'm 2 seconds ahead of B. Because I'm like, yes, and he's like, ooh, and I'm like, he's like, oh.
Y'all gotta chill, man. Y'all gotta chill, man, because y'all are behind. I'm behind both of y'all, and I'm just like, what are y'all? Oh, okay, never mind.
I'm gonna see something and then count to 3 in my head and then react.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, I mean, I think Flanagan is a guy that we need to be able to continue to get some contributions from. Well played, gentlemen.
Perfectly timed, B.
Yes.
Perfectly timed.
But we got to see contribution from Flanagan on the offensive end. But the question in the caption of this, I guess you can say, or in the title of this, is: can Auburn make a run down the stretch here? Is this team equipped to do something, right? Like, and what does that run look like? What do you based on where we are right now, right? Because everybody came here on maybe like 2 weeks ago after how long ago was that we lost to Georgia? Was that like 2 weeks now? That we lost to Georgia? That's about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. It was about 2 weeks ago.
Everybody came on here after the Georgia loss and told me that this team wasn't going to make the tournament and we're terrible, right? And so now I'm wondering, have we changed our opinion? Are we still terrible and not going to make the tournament right now? I don't know. My question is, can this team make a run, and what does that run look like based upon what we see today?
Yeah, I think they can make a run, certainly. I think that run is going to be more about coaching than it is about players. Bruce has got to figure out how to get that out of these guys and, down the stretch. That's what we hired him for, right? That's what he got a lifetime contract for. So I'm actually putting the onus on him to figure out a way to get this team a 5 to 6 seed in the tournament. Right now, I don't think, I think that would be generous at this point. Based on how they're playing, but by record, by the end of the season, I think that's possible. If they get any higher than that, then they really made a turnaround. But the perception, right, even being only a 3-loss team, is that they're kind of middle of the pack when it comes to the top 25.
Yeah, right? Which I think it's fair. Listen, I think that this is a teens, like in the teens, as far as like talent or ability and how they're playing right now, team 15, 16, 17. We're ranked 16th right now. I think that's pretty fair ranking for how we're playing right now. I don't think I can name 20 teams in the country that I think is better than Auburn, is my point.
Right.
And that's the thing that was so frustrating for me, hearing people talk about we're not going to make the tournament. Like, so you don't think that we're a top 25 team, or you don't think that we're a top 40, right?
Right.
Team in the country. You think there are 40 teams better than, like, even with your automatic bids and all that team, 40 other teams that are better than Auburn in the country?
Right.
I get it. You don't think it's a championship team, but like, can we temper it? Does it have to be championship or trash? Are those the only options that exist?
Yeah. Well, like I said, I think they're an average team. I'll let you go.
No. Well, unfortunately and fortunately, when Bruce got us to the Final Four in 2019, and really, I think the following year, the team being as good as it was and winning the SEC tournament, that second year let everybody know this is not a fluke. We lost two of the best shooters we've ever had, and we went right back to the top of the SEC. That raised the expectation. And that's what success does. Success raises the expectation. If it was 1 year, 2019, Final Four, and then we fall back off to the middle of the pack the next season, then maybe everybody's like, okay, so whatever. But the following year, it was a great season. And unfortunately, we didn't get to have the tournament, but that raised the expectation for Bruce and for the program. And so, of course, the COVID season was a disappointment. We didn't have Sharif, so we knew why we didn't do great that season. But we follow it up with a fantastic regular season with Jabari Smith and Walker Kessler. And so what we've had for 3 of the last 4 legitimate seasons, because COVID did not count. And yes, I know that was Bama's only good season under Nate Oates so far, not counting this season. I am saying it did not count. As well, the football championship did not count that season either. And the Lakers championship did not count that season either. Just to be clear. But 3 out of the last 4 seasons, we either won the SEC in some form, and one of those, we went to the Final Four. Yeah. So the expectations are high. And I get why people are a little disappointed. Like, we run people out the gym, and the talent that we've brought in that's supposed to be year one talent had all been phenomenal. Going back to Okoro, Sharif didn't get on the floor, but he did flash when he was here. He didn't get to play and develop that year. Jabari ended up being phenomenal. Walker Kessler, the one transfer you got in that season, he was phenomenal. So what we're seeing this season is down on a couple of fronts. Number one, we don't have.
He wasn't the one transfer.
Oh, I'm sorry. He wasn't the one. Who was
Wendell and KD both.
That's right. As well. I feel like they've been here longer for some reason, even though I know they haven't.
What's called it? Was here as well. Came in that year.
So yeah. But I guess you could say the highest touted transfer of that class. It was hey, I think this guy's really good. You hear that he was a 5-star at North Carolina. He comes in and he's every bit the talent he was promised to be. This year we haven't seen it to that extent. Traore is not the 5-star talent that a Jabari Smith was, that Isaac Okoro was, or even that Sharif Cooper flashed to be in his freshman season. We don't have we have seen, I think Wendell has improved. He has improved his floor command, he has improved his shot making, and he's improved his ability to weave in and out of traffic in the lane without having his shot intimidated quite so much. I think he's done a really good job of that. But what we don't see is us controlling teams like we did with Arkansas. That may have been a little bit about Arkansas being deficient of some players, maybe. That's no excuse. You still got to play who you got. But so far, Mississippi State, Ole Miss, Arkansas, all teams that at their present state when we play them just aren't good. So we need to beat up on teams that we're better than. Yep. But what this fan base has gotten accustomed to is beating the good teams at their place or at our place. We have been able to compete and beat the good teams. And we don't look like, so far, we don't look like a team that can do that. And that's why everybody's kind of up in arms. Everybody's a little anxious about it. We've saw mad trash the last few years. And now we don't want to get that back. I get it. We don't want to get that trash talk back. We don't want Arkansas chirping at us, which is why I'm glad we won that game. We don't want Kentucky chirping at us, but I'm looking forward to playing them this year because they're worse in every respect. And
they're playing better the last couple of games. That's why I like it's like, I'm like, man, y'all too early in the season to be going this heavy-handed on people. Like, even I think some of the Bama talk is a little like, they're good. They're good. Like, I said Bama was good well before anybody else was willing to admit that early in the season. And then they lost the game. People were like, are you sure? I'm like, no, I'm sure they're actually really good. And then they won a couple big games, Houston, then they got blown out by Gonzaga. People like, you sure? I'm like, listen, I watch basketball. They're good. Like, good teams lose ball games too. They're good.
Yeah.
So
And the thing that I think will worry the fan base is if we lose to Bama at home, then everybody's going to get, because they don't want Bama to be the chosen team out the SEC this year. They don't want Bama to be the best team. Listen, if you can get the guys, this unlike any other sport in basketball, if you can get the guy,
one or two guys,
that's it. One guy can make a huge difference. Two make an astronomical difference. Bama has those guys. It doesn't mean they're invincible. And if you give a Bruce Pearl team long enough to keep playing, keep figuring out, keep rotating pieces, keep giving the new guys more minutes and more experience playing the defense, they're going to get better. That February 11th game is going to be a fantastic showing of how far those guys have been incorporated into this defense, more so than anything else. And we always have a shot at home playing the defense that Bruce Pearl teaches his team how to play. So for that reason, we absolutely can make a run. Like, that's why we're going to defend the hell out of anybody and everybody. And because there are no just elite, well, there's maybe Bama's the only elite offensive team. Vanderbilt's not bad either. There aren't enough elite offensive teams to say, oh, well, they can definitely just put up points on us in spite of our defense and win and beat us for sure. We don't. Maybe Bama, but I don't put it past us to win that game at home. Like Mike said, I don't want to talk about what it's going to be in Tuscaloosa, but at home, that's a game we can win. So because of that, we can end up 4th seed in the SEC by the end of the regular season. I think that's completely feasible. There's some other teams that are going to do the same thing too now. Like Texas A&M is gradually getting better. Missouri is kind of falling back a little bit, which is a little bit concerning. But we've got the teams. Tennessee has even looked a little rougher. I was really surprised to see them lose to Kentucky.
Yeah,
really surprised with the way they have been defended.
Very surprised that Kentucky won that game.
Right. So I mean, who knows? Basketball is less predictable than other sports than football because a good night or a bad night or one really good matchup that you have in your favor can completely turn a game
for sure
from what you think it should be. So we have those types of players. We have the type of coaching that can exploit a good matchup, like what we saw against Arkansas. That was just a coaching clinic, and we can absolutely have that type of advantage over another team coming down the stretch as we start to get into the second half of the season, early February of the SEC season in early February. We've got time. We're still getting better, and we're still improving. And even if the opponents aren't great, we look better. We look like we're fixing things as the season goes on. And to see Allen Flanigan looking like his COVID season self again.
Yeah.
For sure.
Me, the key for us making the run, is going to be the play of Jalen Williams and Allen Flanigan, because those two guys are the ones, in my opinion, that are the hardest to guard for any defense. Right. Yeah. Because the athleticism that Allen Flanigan brings, he's usually quicker than most people who's going to be guarding him. He can jump out of the gym. If he can get to his shot and shoot it confidently, it's going to be good. Jalen Williams is another guy that presents a matchup problem because he can step out and shoot the three so well, and he shoots the medium range shot so well. Him playing confident is going to be a whole different level of offense for this basketball team. And to me, those guys take us to the next level. Now, you've got to have that in combination with the guys who typically are showing up on a night in, night out basis, which are Wendell Green and then Janai Broome. But if you have those four guys in concert playing well, there's no limit to where this team can go, because then you've got enough scrappy guys in KD and Chris Moore and Dylan Cardwell to be able to get you the loose balls and play Zep Jasper difficult guard on the defensive side. He's doing his thing. Yes, that's a perfect time reaction right there. I appreciate that. Yeah. You can be a great basketball team if you get those offensive contributions, because as I've said over and over again, if you can play defense, you can be in any game.
Right.
We play good defense, so we can be in any game. The question is, are we going to limit our turnovers, and are we going to score the basketball?
Right.
Did you guys see the thing, kind of a weird segue here, about how the Rudy Gobert Walker Kessler trade might be the most lopsided trade
Utah
ever.
Lost that trade bad.
Oh man, right?
Bad.
And can you imagine if Walker Kessler came back another year? Wow, beautiful.
No, I can't. I don't want to think about it, because if I do, I'm gonna be sad.
Well, here's the thing.
Well, we probably don't have Janai Broome if he comes back.
Do you? I mean, listen. I mean, we talk a lot about Jabari, but with the numbers he's putting up, is it possible he's the Naismith Player of the Year in college basketball? With the numbers he's putting up right now,
if he were to do that in his second year in the SEC, Possibly. I just don't know that he would. Well, I mean, he's not really getting a lot of shots in the NBA. He's just shooting at a fairly decent percentage. So it's possible. Because, I mean, listen, man, Bruce Pearl prepared him for the Rockets, boy, because he was getting limited touches here at Auburn, and the Rockets don't like to share the ball at all. So he was ready to make to take advantage of limited shooting opportunities to be able to put up points. Because the Rockets, boy, they are I don't know how many assists per game that they have, but it can't be high.
Right.
It can't be high because the ball gets stuck in ISO so much with them. They don't share the basketball particularly well. They're decent on the defensive end because they're super athletic. Right. But yeah. But no, I mean, it's possible that he could be up there for a player of the year if he were putting up those types of numbers in this collegiate season. And I think, man, Jabari back on this team this year, which he made the right decision to go pro. I'm not saying he should have come back. He's not one of those guys who I'm like in retrospect, hey man, like there are guys who I think should have come back. JT Thor, I think should have come back. Sharif Cooper, I think should have come back. Yeah. Not mad at them for making the decisions because both of those guys are playing professional basketball at some level right now. But Jabari on this team, because we don't have any 3-point shooters.
Yeah, would have been
Lord ridiculous. Have mercy.
Right. Yeah. And just the threat of him would open up so many opportunities for everybody else.
Yeah. Man, so how low that you play with Jabari and Broom?
Janai Broom and a Jabari combination would be ridiculous. Because as good as Walker Kessler is on the defensive end and how much better he made us defensively, he wasn't really an offensive threat. For sure. You have a threat in the post that they can dump the ball down to and a guy who can actually shoot when you kick it back out. And that dude plays defense really well. And you've got a more confident Jay Will and a better playing Chris Moore. You don't even care that Chance Westry ain't playing well. You don't even care that Trayor isn't playing well because you're going to be able to get enough scoring in your rotation. And those guys can redshirt this entire season. And you feel good about where you are going into next season with a redshirt 5-star sitting on your bench and another 5-star guard coming in.
Yeah, for sure.
Crazy different. But Flanagan's playing better right now. Thank you, Chess. Like, bro, it's just his ability to knock down open threes would change this team in the perception of this team, I think, to a top 10 team.
I think that's more than accurate.
Yeah. So anyway, but hey, if you know what they say, if my aunt had a, but anyway, let's go to the comment section here, and then we will get into our paying some bills here. John Brennan says LSU sucks. We should be booty blasting this team.
Wow. Yes. I wonder where he got that from.
I wonder.
No clue where that phrase came from.
Might be the worst influence.
Top tier comment. He gets a gold star.
Got the TV on mute so I can watch AU and listen to the fellas on my phone. Hey, Stuart Donald knows how to live life appropriately. He's doing it right out there. That's because he's a chef, man. He's a chef and he understands you got your prep station over here and then you come over here, you got your workstation. So he understands how to separate his work and be able to work on those things effectively. I see what you're doing right there, Stuart. Great job there, sir. James Buckley jumps in and says it's sloppy for sure. It has definitely been a sloppy game. Auburn right now, I think, is up by 10 last time I checked. 12 now.
Okay. We pushed it back open. They made a run, but we pushed it back out.
Yeah. John Brandon says if we had any kind of consistent offense, we would be blowing these guys out. That's a factual statement.
We're blowing everybody out.
Andrew Jacobs, can we shoot the ball instead of pump faking every time? A lot of hesitancy in the first half. I know where that comment's coming from is one of the first comments we got. Definitely been a lot more aggressive or assertive on the offensive end in the second half of this game. Greg Reeves says 4D Yahtzee. You were saying that Hugh Free. Oh, look at your boy Berman out there playing ball. Lior.
He gets a replay. They're giving him a replay.
Hey, he got the and one on it, man. But when you made the comment earlier that Hugh Freeze was playing 4D chess and Greg Reeves says 4D Yahtzee. That was just for you there, Mike G. Jaquan Grant says, thank y'all for having JG during the morning drop. Made my morning great. Listen, JG, man, he's always fun to talk to. He was great this morning with us. We're going to try to get him on more regularly to come just chat with us in the mornings. I think that morning time works a little bit better for him to come on rather than this afternoon, especially because of how long our afternoon stream is. So we'll try to get him or somebody at least from Auburn Sports on more regularly in that morning drop spot for you guys. Dia Look says, Chuck says Bama the best team in the country. Shaking my head. Chuck is not 100% wrong. I think Houston's the best team in the country, even though Bama beat them.
I agree.
But I think Houston's the most complete team out there in the country right now. But listen, Bama's really good, guys. I know that's terrible for me to say as an Auburn fan, but it is a factual statement that Bama is a good basketball team.
They're a good team. They're the real deal.
Man, Wendell's got so much better finishing in the lane amongst the trees, man.
Him and KD play with so much better pace in the lane now than they used to. KD, you know, everybody's like, oh, he's just going to be a bull going to the hole extremely too fast all the time. He doesn't do that all the time now. He plays with much better. Look at Janai talking jump, bro. Janai Brown be making people so mad, and I love it so much.
Your voice got real deep there when you said
I'm whispering because I love because he was whispering to the dude on the court. He was talking a little bit to him. I like that little.
Who was that? Who was that guy in the NBA that was blowing in LeBron's ear?
Stevenson, Lance Stevenson.
I don't know why what that reminded me
of. Stevenson is like 1,000%. That's a foul. Yeah. Steve Stevenson is 1,000% an antagonist, but he's not like a real hooper either. Like he kind of got a lot of flash, but he ain't no hooper. So anyway, Chris jumps in and says, how many quad 1 wins do we need to be a lock in the tourney? We're 1-2 thus far, 6-1 in quad 2 games.
Wait, what determines the quads? Because I don't understand that. I never.
There's algorithms that they put together about like the talent level of a team and what conference they play in as to how quality a win it is, right? Like you're beating teams who aren't very good, and they put them in certain quadrants. And so quad 1 is the best quadrant to be in. So here's the thing. I don't know that there's like a static number on that right now. It's really relative, right? Mm-hmm. So because like if a lot of teams who are up there in the upper tier have quad 1 losses as well, you just kind of have to, you want to be above 500 in quad 1 for sure. But I don't know that there's a lock number per se, but the obvious answer is win as many of them as you can. But you have to balance that out as well with not having a bunch of bad losses, right? Like you can't just have quality wins and then a bunch of bad losses. Like, so it's got to be the full resume. It's not just quad 1. I need him to knock that shot down way more often than he does, because he can shoot it, and people are just leaving him there to shoot that.
Yikes!
That was nasty. We can't get the jump ball on that. Wow. Yeah. Anyway, all right. So clearly, I am not paying enough attention to what's going on our stream. I'm paying attention to this basketball game. Let's go pay some bills real quick, and we will come back and talk a little bit more about this basketball game, and we'll get into some football stuff. But you guys are watching the Midweek Rapport right here on the War Report.
This edition of the War Report is made possible by our generous sponsors. AuburnSports.com. For news and notes on all things Auburn Sports, head over to AuburnSports.com. Athletic Architects. For young athletes looking to secure their financial future, let Athletic Architects help you to build your financial house. Head over to BuildTheHouse.com. And our giveaway sponsor, War Eagle Oil. War Eagle Oil is your #1 place for all of your motor oil and related products. For more information, visit wareagleoil.com.
Mike G, tell the people some stuff that they need to be doing right now.
Hey, listen, if you're not already a member of the War Report, join the Green Name Gang and get greened up in this chat here. The green people are the cool kids. These are the guys who decided to support us with a monthly contribution. Help keep the War Report going this offseason. We've got basketball to talk about. We're going to have baseball to talk about too, guys. Auburn is a baseball school too, and just in case you haven't noticed. So it definitely does not slow down here in the offseason for us. Listen, if you are already a Green Name person, you can give a gift of the War Report to somebody who is not a Green Name person. People who interact with our channel at a high level but have not become members yet are most likely to be recipients. They are gifted at random. Give away a membership to the War Report today. Guys, hashtag get your weight up in the comments. We're giving away a War Report t-shirt. So this is quality stuff here. Everything Ike designs is quality. It's all hot fire. That's all he spits here at the War Report. So Hashtag get your weight up. Make sure you get your spelling up, because if it's not spelled correctly, you will not be entered in. We're going to draw at the 1 hour mark. I want to thank our sponsor, the Rogue Shop. Listen, rogueshop.com, use code REPORT to get 15% off on all products. They've got products for sleep, stress, anxiety, mood. It's all there at the Rogue Shop. And listen, personally, I like their candles. So I light a candle every night from the Rogue Shop. Helps get me in the mood to sleep. You should too. Don't let them fool you, fellas. Ladies love a good scented candle.
Oh, I don't think anybody's fooled by that. I don't know a woman who doesn't love a good scented candle. It just depends on the scent, though. Like women are definitely particular about the scents.
Yeah, for sure. Also, because it's basketball season, don't see it here, but I do want to thank prizepicks.com for supporting the War Report as well. They've been supporting us since basketball season. They're a great sponsor of ours as well, too. So you can use code Report on Prize Picks to get 100% match on that first deposit. Go check them out.
Yes, indeed. Auburn right now up 56-42. Jay Will going to the line to try to extend that lead. Playing okay right now. Man, I don't know what to say about how disappointed I am in Traore. He looks so lost out there on the floor so often, man. It's real. It's just hard for me to watch a guy who was so highly touted come in, a guy who played fairly well in Israel, play this poorly when he got over here into league play. Like, he just does not, like, he really looks like he never played basketball before, but I've seen him play basketball before.
Yeah.
Did Israel not happen or something? Like, was that like a figment of my imagination? Did they not actually, was this like a moon landing thing where they filmed it and like pretended like it happened, but it didn't really happen? Because I don't understand how he went from, oh, this dude got some skills, to what? I don't get it. I don't get it.
Yeah, y'all remember that Bruce Lee movie when somebody's trying to impress them and they walk up to the match and they hold the board up and they hit the board real quick?
Yeah.
Like, you know what Bruce said? Boards don't hit back. Them Israel kids, listen, man, everybody ain't 6'3" over here. Well, you could just
but like, it's not as if we haven't played bad teams. So is it just because dudes are taller? Like, once you get above 6'5", he can't hoop with you no more?
Size looks like one thing, but it also looks like he doesn't really know what to do or where to be defensively. And I think
that's
probably
what I'm saying. Like,
his
I could understand if it was athleticism was the issue, right? Like, people are blowing by him. It's him looking deer in the headlights so much. Right. Like, he doesn't look like he's played basketball before. If it were just physicality and speed of the game and all, maybe it's the speed of the game. Maybe that's what it is. It's not
speed of the game, but also, don't you think that trip? How much do you think Bruce was trying to really bear down on the team in Israel, or was it just hey, let's play some ball, let's figure out who you guys are, where you fit in? I'm pretty sure the coaching really came into focus as we got closer to the season, and that's when he figured out, not Bruce, but Traore. Oh, I gotta do stuff.
When it got more serious, he was like, he got nervous, right? It's like one of those things where maybe the moment is bigger for him, and so he's not able to play in the big moment of we're on TV all the time. Because the Israel games, I mean, they were broadcast, but like, it ain't the same as being here in these big arenas, and it ain't this fun trip where everybody out here having fun. It's like, oh, it's a business trip. Maybe is that what it is? It's too serious for him.
Not just too serious. I think there's a lot to something. I think that was one of the things that when we were recruiting Byron Coward, he actually came from like a 2A or 3A school, right? And he was quick off the line, but he was playing against, future haystackers instead of future SEC offensive linemen. So when he got into the league and they were like, all right, you're not really pushing these guys around on the offensive line, and you're not fast enough to get around them either. Well, you're on here with monsters like Derek Brown and Marlon Davidson, even Nick Cole was outplaying him. And I think it's different when you can succeed. I don't want to say with minimal effort, because all these guys put in a phenomenal amount of work and effort to get noticed, to play the type of ball that it takes to get the ratings that they get. But the amount of fight and hustle and physicality that you're going to see in SEC play constantly. I mean, not even SEC. Think about like a Northwestern or teams that played us tough before we hit conference play. It's a different struggle. It's a different game. And not everybody is built to meet that challenge right off the bat. Some people are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some people are absolutely ready for it, and they know the hard work. I think like Jabari Smith, I was so happy to see him turn that corner soon. Like the first third of the season was what he needed, and then he gradually got better. I don't think Traore is built quite the same. Hopefully he understands that he needs time to develop, because who's developing players better than Auburn is right now? Nobody. So you stick around, get better. Take the challenge that these coaches give, man. They're turning guys who Walker Kessler wasn't even starting for North Carolina, but he's starting for the Utah Jazz and putting up 2020s like
that. Walker Kessler's a good example of a guy who came in highly touted, a 5-star, and North Carolina took a look at the kid and was like, nah.
Right.
I don't see it. He came to Auburn the next year, and people thought what they saw at Auburn wasn't going to translate to the NBA.
And absolutely,
that is not the case. This boy Walker Kessler out here swatting everything in the lane in the NBA, bro. Like the light came on for him for some reason when he got to Auburn.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that just wasn't in him at North Carolina, or they just didn't know how to pull it out of him, right? Like there's a difference between it never be like some people just have that in them and you got to pull it out of them. Some people just don't have it in them at all, right?
Right.
And so I don't know if he found something that he always had, or if somebody allowed him to just do something that he could always do. I don't know what the deal was with that.
Yeah,
that's a very weak foul call. I hate it.
And a lot of Bruce's players meet that challenge and exceed it. But again, like we talked about this before, Bruce, he recruits the types of players who will meet that challenge. That's the types of players that he wants. So, but not everybody's built like that. And I don't want to, I'm not bailing on the guy because he's had a rough season as a true freshman and he doesn't get it immediately. Listen, I'm sure a lot of them have these imaginations of what they're going to do. They're going to come in and ball out and go to the league, and they're probably counting their money before they even play the first college game. But then reality sets in, and they realize that it's work. And I just hope that he trusts what these coaches are doing and how they're developing him, because as you can see, man, again, who's developing better than Auburn?
I mean, the answer to that has over the last few years has been Murray State, honestly. But
I know, crazy, right?
Yeah. They've done a great job. St. Pete apparently develops players really well. I mean, to be fair, the question should be who's developing better than Auburn at the Power 5 level, because these smaller schools are really doing all of the development in college basketball right now, because people are just going and taking their players away from them after they've done the development or gotten them to a level where people want to pay attention to them, and then snatching them to the Power 5 level to let them play 1 year and go to the league. Yeah. So that's basically like your farm league down there in those schools. I mean, it's an unfortunate reality of where we are in college sports. But it's been happening forever in basketball. But no, I think what we're doing at Auburn has been, Coach Pearl has done a great job of finding diamonds in the rough his entire career. And he's continued to do that here at Auburn, of just allowing guys to find their stride and play basketball at a high level when other people thought that they weren't capable of doing it at that level. Right. And so looking forward to seeing more of that as Auburn basketball continues down this road. And man, Dylan Cardwell has been such a good rim protector, bro.
Like Cardwell, like I remember
someone to appreciate it.
We used to moan when Cardwell got in the game for a while. We were like, oh, here we go. No hands.
Cardwell's a great example of what you're talking about. That man has developed every single year he's been here at Auburn.
Yes, man. Yes.
Every single year he's been here at Auburn. We're going to go to the chat here for just a minute. Derek Anderson says, who y'all's opinion on the best team? So who's the best team that we've beaten so far this season? And who do you think is the best team we will face the remaining schedule? The second half of that, I think, is pretty obvious. That it's a toss-up between Alabama and Tennessee. But who is the best team that we've beaten so far, or we faced so far this season? Jay Will is finally playing better second half of this game. This is the guy I need to see.
Northwestern's probably the best team that we've beaten this year. Honestly.
That we've beaten, probably the most quality win. Yeah.
Man, it's turning into a 20-point blowout.
Coming together.
Yeah.
I mean, you're supposed to 20-point this team, though. For sure.
Yeah,
you're supposed to. I mean, we'll see down the stretch if we can keep up this pace, but you're supposed to 20-point this team. Who is the best team? Memphis is probably the best team we played all season.
Yeah, but we lost that game.
Yeah, but so like the Memphis game, I think our defense let us down uncharacteristically. right?
Yeah.
I don't think we played our best game against Memphis, but I do think Memphis is probably the most because Memphis can play defensively and they can score. There have been teams that we played so far this season that can do one or the other, but Memphis is the
big boy to rebound.
Yeah, he did. It's probably what should have been over the back, but still. Memphis is probably the best team on both ends of the floor that we've played, because there's been teams who can score and we've done our job with them. There's been teams who can play defense, but they can't score. He should have got a foul call right there too.
What's going on?
What is going on? Step back three.
Yeah, that's like what?
Hey man, we getting like 2 and 3 offensive rebounds on the same.
Hey, listen, if we can do this 2 or 3 more times, the game gonna be over with. We just gonna run the clock out. But yeah, so I think Memphis is probably the best all-around team that we've played this season.
Yeah.
You got any thoughts on that, B? I know you said Northwestern, but
yeah, I think Northwestern's our best win. So I mean, I know that was a question. Memphis may be the best team. I really wish we had Wendell for the USC game, because I really don't like having lost to.
Yeah, see, USC is an example of a team that I don't think is particularly great defensively, but they can score, right?
Is it weird that we're 5 games in the SEC play and we're saying our best team we played is not a conference game?
I mean, I think Arkansas would have been.
Yeah, they took the air out of that one.
Yeah. Georgia's. I think Georgia's good. I don't think that they're better than Memphis. No, I don't think it's super weird. I mean, we've played some of the worst teams in the league. Mississippi State's terrible offensively. Ole Miss isn't very good. This LSU team isn't very good. So the only quality team that we've played so far has been Arkansas, because they were ranked at the time. But I mean, they're faltering because they don't have some starters in there. So I don't know that it's necessarily weird. I just think that the SEC is a kind of average league this year. We're very top heavy. No, actually, we're very mid heavy in the SEC this year. Right. You've got 1 or 2 elite teams, a bunch of okay teams, and then a couple of like, if you lose this game, what are you doing with your life?
Right.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. Like I said, this is more of what I expected from Auburn in terms of beating teams that they should be. 20-piece this team, come back, and then, get ready for the next game.
Yeah.
Is it South Carolina they play next?
Yes, on the road against South Carolina next.
Right. Win this 2-game road stretch and come back to Jordan-Hare strong. Close out the month of January strong and get ready to roll into that Bama game, which will be, again, if they keep winning, it'll be the game of the year in the SEC.
Yeah, I mean, until Bama, Tennessee. Yeah, definitely will. Corey Weber says he thinks the Northwestern team looks better each week.
Wait, Tennessee lost to Kentucky, right? Like
they did, but they're still good.
Okay, all right.
Listen, man, good teams lose basketball games. Tennessee is a good team.
All right.
And Kentucky can score. Like the problem with Kentucky is turnovers and their inability to stop teams consistently. They don't play particularly great team defense. They have a couple of one-on-one defenders that are really good. Kentucky's just getting one of their better perimeter shooters back on this team. Kentucky's a good basketball team. Like I know that their record doesn't, but again, I can say good without saying elite, right? Kentucky's a good basketball team. They're not great. Just like Auburn's not great. Kentucky's they're okay. But they can score the basketball. Oscar Tshiebwe's still on that team. Yeah. They've got shooters on the perimeter that can put the ball in the basket. When Xavier Wheeler is healthy, he's a good floor general for him. Kentucky's a good basketball team. But Tennessee tilts towards the elite end, even with a loss to Kentucky. So I don't think that Kentucky loss looks bad because Kentucky hadn't been playing well. Tennessee's still a good basketball team.
Yeah.
But yes, I agree with that Northwestern win. I actually said at the time that Northwestern's a better team than people were giving them credit for, because I have to repeat myself a lot, because then people start to understand that I don't just say things to say them. When you play good defense, you have an opportunity to win every game that you're in. Northwestern is an elite defensive team. Right. And when you play, and people thought, oh, that's a really ugly game, we're not shooting the ball well. Northwestern had something to do with that. They actually play really good defense. They force you into bad shots. They force you into turnovers. They force you into doing things uncharacteristically. They muddy the game up for you. So you're going to look worse than you typically do when you play Northwestern. Problem is they can't shoot the ball. Northwestern's not a very good offensive team. And they had a couple of guys that were out in that game. So yeah, Northwestern, actually, that's going to end up looking a lot more quality. I think it's going to be a quad 2 win by the end of this thing, but still quality win for Auburn in that game.
Yeah.
Leor Stuart Donald says, is the Stetson Bennett of college basketball. He's not old enough to be the Stetson Bennett of anything.
Yeah, he would have to be like the starting point guard that was a walk-on.
Leading a team to a national championship.
Yeah, sure.
But I get his point. He's playing well and he's a walk-on. So
yeah, maybe he becomes that,
he ain't got that in him, but he definitely has some ability. So listen, man, Stetson Bennett played like one of the best college quarterbacks we've seen the last couple of years.
I agree. I think
and
he
was a walk-on.
Disrespected.
Can't take that from him.
He was so disrespected. And I think, in some of his postseason comments, he felt that disrespect and he got back at people a little bit. It wasn't the best look, but I understand.
Hey, when you win,
you get to talk
all the trash you want. You won.
So
can never take that away from him.
Jalen Williams, 14.6 rebounds tonight.
Yeah, the first half he was not looking good. He came alive in the second half of this game. This is the Jalen Williams. I want to see him do this the entirety of a game. Listen, he had, I think, either 2 or 4 points in the first half of this game. He's got 14 now. If he could just do this the entirety of games, he'd be averaging 20 because he doesn't take a lot of bad shots, right? So if he's just taking the shots he normally should take as often as he gets them, he's going to be putting up 20 a game. This dude right here shoots the ball so much. The little dude with the little frosty dreads for LSU, the blonde hair.
Call him Lil Frosty.
Yeah, he shoots the ball so much, and it just takes a lot of dumb shots, man. Aaron Smith jumps in. Anybody notice that Mitchell, the AD Mitchell from Georgia, entered the transfer portal today? Maybe we can get another receiver added.
AD Mitchell, he jumped in.
Yeah, he did.
Man, I think we good. I got a friend or two that stays in Atlanta, and they said
AD Mitchell, they caught a touchdown pass in the national championship game.
Was he the guy?
Didn't everybody catch a touchdown?
I'm about to say, like, who didn't show out in the national championship game?
That's true. They scored 60-something points.
Good pass though.
He had a pretty good semifinal game as well, too, as I remember.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing that's so interesting to me. Who thought that Georgia had a good wide receiver core this year?
They had a good McConkey. And
Lad McConkey was kind of street. He was bad. The
first
it wasn't
a great season for him, right?
Yeah. So, but again, would anybody have said, "Man, you got to watch out for those Georgia receivers"? Rosemy St. Jacks or whatever his name was. Like, I don't think that their receivers were particularly great this year. So I don't really know how to evaluate whether or not this guy's any good. He's talented because he played for a talented team.
Yeah, right. I don't know, man. So are you saying that the passing yards were more Stetson than the receivers?
I think it was more the system that got them open in their good run game, but it definitely was not receivers just out there beasting. No.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think that
McConkey,
a lot of their passing yards.
McConkey is a beast.
He's got speed. Good. Now again, I didn't say not saying they're trash.
Okay.
I didn't say they had a trash receiving core. I'm saying that they're not. I would take Auburn's receiving core just as much as I would take Georgia's receiving core. I think that they had a better flow to their offense, so they put up more yardage. But I don't think their receivers are better than Auburn's.
Now if you take into account the mismatches created from their tight end room,
correct?
That's the game. You take those tight ends from Georgia, and then it's a whole nother story. Then that receiving core,
you can't just take their tight ends. You got to replace and put their run game and their offensive line and everything because you got to have time. But yes, to your point, the tight ends afforded them the ability to do a lot more things in their passing game with their receivers than they would have absent of them.
Right.
Minute and 57 seconds left in this game. Auburn's up 63-46 right now. They can salt this away with a couple of more trips down the floor here if they don't come up empty.
Oh.
Mike forgot about his timing things.
That's the end of the game. Screw you.
Don't screw me. Damian Smith says, "Hey, we at NASA employees take offense to that moon landing to moon landing conspiracies. I don't believe the conspiracies. I'm just saying that people will say that they were faked. I've never been to the moon, so I don't know if it looks like that or not. I'll take your word for it, NASA." John Brandon jumps in. Mike G takes bath with rose petals and candles while listening to Luther Vandross. I don't know if this is like some sort of fantasy that you have about him, or you've actually seen this.
Yeah, I'm not hearing any negatives. I love Luther. Just throw a girl in there and it's perfect.
Yeah, we're gonna move on. John Brandon says, "How much longer will we be able to keep Stephen Pearl?" This is a good question. Stephen Pearl is a guy who probably will pop up on some head coaching searches coming up here. Does he want to stay with his dad?
Actually, there's been talk about him becoming coach in waiting.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would probably be the best scenario for Auburn, but is that what he wants to do? Does he want to go ahead and get some head coaching experience before being that coach in waiting, or does he want to golly, KD? Or does he want to go ahead and wait his turn, right? And you could say the same thing for Wes Flanagan, right? Like, is somebody going to come tugging on the coattails of Wes Flanagan to say, hey, you could come run our program?
Right.
I don't know the answer to either of those questions. I hope that he just picks up the mantle and we just become the Pearl dynasty up here. But don't know. We shall see. Chris Sanders says, gonna need the hype to come to fruition for both of our Frenchmen, Trey Orr and Imba. So this is a good segue to talk a little basketball, as this game is now not out of reach, but we should win this basketball game.
If we lose a 16-point lead in
76
seconds,
I've seen worse happen before in games. So I don't like to call any game out of reach until the time is just literally expired to the point where you can't come back. You can definitely come back in this amount of time from 16 points, but LSU's not shooting well enough to make that a real thing.
Come on, Trey Orr.
Trey Orr in the game. Ain't no telling what's going to happen.
Oh,
a bucket.
Hey, there we go.
That's what's happening. Buckets.
Hey, can I see that from you like 5 times a game?
Oh, yes, Cartwell. Get that weak out here.
You can't say that when he fouled him, though.
I don't know. Don't let him have nothing, though. I don't care.
No, I agree. Listen, that's
never let him see the ball go in the basket.
Here's the thing that I think I like the most about Dylan Cardwell this year. He has become an enforcer in there.
Yeah,
he ain't letting you come inside with nothing weak at all. Like, he has put some dudes on the floor. Now, they've been hard basketball fouls. I don't think he's a dirty player, but he has definitely come and said, nah, we not have no weak layups on my watch, family. We're not doing that. If you're going to come in here strong. I like the way that he's been out there being dominant on the interior for us this season. But yes, I agree with this comment, Chris Sanders. We need to see the French connection turn into something substantial for us because both of those guys came in with a lot of hype. Go to work, young man. Oh, I like this. I like Bruce Pearl saying, clear it out, let him go to work, because he wants to build his confidence up here in these junk minutes. I like that, man. How was that not out on LSU?
And they say it went off his leg.
Trash.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like it's a blowout, so they ain't gonna review it. Cardwell dribbling up the court.
LSU is bad, man.
They are. I mean, listen, you're supposed to win this game again. The 20 points is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to 20-piece this team.
We 18-piece them though.
Close. But quality win here again doesn't really matter to me that it's a bad team. You're supposed to beat bad teams in an impressive fashion, and Auburn did that tonight. Final score 67-49. So good win for Auburn on the road again. So a big number being put up on the road, not offensively. 67 points isn't a ton of points, but a big deficit that LSU would have had to climb to win this game on the road. So a good job by the Auburn basketball team being able to do that. We are getting close to that time where we need to be doing a drawing. We're not quite there yet, but you guys go ahead and share this video, though, so that we can get some more folks in here on the conversation now that the game is over with. Share the video, like the video, subscribe to the channel, all of those things so that we can get our way up collectively as a family around here, because you guys are a part of the family. So here, I'm gonna say this, man, and I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I haven't said it in a while. I enjoy coming in here, having an opportunity to chat with you guys on Sundays and Wednesdays. I feel like I have like a bunch of virtual family members that we've developed over these years.
Yes.
Listen, I know a lot about you guys' lives that I probably shouldn't know. But like, when you guys are feeling bad and you're away, we feel that absence in the live chat when you guys aren't here. Like there are certain people who I've come accustomed to seeing, and when they're not here, you know, and I understand people have other things that they got going on in life, but when they're not, like when Jazzy's not here, I feel it when he's not here.
Yeah,
right.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like when Haley isn't here, I feel it when she's not here. You know, Corey Weber's here all the time. I feel it when he's not here. Lawrence, like I can rattle off names of people who I'm just John Brandon. Like I'm accustomed to seeing those names pop up in the chat. Ben Bloodworth always gonna come with the quality jokes. I miss the Uzi jokes, man. Uzi used to be top tier with the jokes he was bringing, man. Like I feel it when you guys aren't here, man. And I appreciate you guys spending time with us. Because listen, this is a long stream, bro. Like we be on here for an hour and a half, 2 hours, and y'all be sticking with us the whole time, man. So we appreciate it. Hopefully your families don't hate us because we make you attached to your phone and or computer for a few hours a week. But yeah, man, I appreciate the time that you guys spend with us on a weekly basis. So yeah.
All right, drawing time. Who is going to win today?
Yep. If you don't know, we are giving away another one of these great t-shirts. Hashtag get your weight up in the comments, sponsored by War Eagle Oil. Head to wareagleoil.com for all of your motor oil and motor related products. wareagleoil.com. Hashtag get your weight up. Right now, we are going to get into this drawing though and see who's going to get the shirts. 49 people entered today. Not a lot of people in the chat, of course, because people are watching the game. But again, go ahead and share the video. We're going to stick on here for another 30 minutes or so. Talk a little football with you guys. Kendrick Hicks is our winner today. Kendrick Hicks, if you're here, let it be known in the comment section or in the live chat so that we can do the necessary.
Yes.
But yeah, again, another good win by Auburn. Good to see them get this road win.
It's good to see them get a dominant road win.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, now I know LSU may not be very good this year, Ike. But again, the mark of a good team or an improving team is that you beat teams you're supposed to beat by margins that you're supposed to beat them by. And I feel like a lot this year they have played down to the competition. So this is a very, very good win for Bruce Pearl and his squad. I think it shows that they identified some things that they're improving. Now, I mentioned that Jalen Williams and Leo Berman came to the player presser. And, you know, I got a chance to ask Jalen about aggressiveness. I said, you know, hey, after you got hot and you were in heat check mode, you know, do you think that Coach Pearl has green lighted you to take more shots? And he said, I've always had the green light.
Yeah.
But for some reason, I can't get out of passing when I could shoot. Right. And so I think in the second half, you saw him just get a little bit more aggressive. And, you know, maybe Bruce told him after halftime, like, listen, what are you doing?
I hope that's exactly what he went in there in halftime.
Yeah, right.
Like, he's like, man, shoot the expletive ball.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what are you shoot the ball, bro? Like, you have the shots that are open. You're questioning your ability to make them for whatever reason.
Yeah, I see Kendrick is here.
Yeah, Kendrick is definitely here. Thank you for hopping in here. You need to do the necessary, my guy, which is send us an email if I can find the graphic. You know, I don't be hosting like that, so I don't have my stuff organized probably the way C would have. There it is. Send us an email, business@thewar report. Make sure you send us your shirt size and your address. Both of those are necessary in order for you to get your merchandise. And we'll have that out to you in the mail. We appreciate you being here with us and War Eagle, and we'll get that out to you as soon as we can. Business@thewar report. But yeah, man, he definitely was more aggressive in the second half. Taking shots that he really hadn't been taking all year in that aggressiveness. He had some turnaround kind of fading sideways baskets that he was shooting off the backboard type of stuff that he was doing in the second half here. Normally, you're going to see him do kind of the half hook shot that he does in the lane, whether it's from the middle or from the left side. He was taking some of those that were, you know, turning and getting it off the glass. He was taking more 3-point shots in the second half. I like the confidence that Jalen Williams showed in the second half of this basketball game. And I think he was a huge difference maker for this team in the second half of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, mid-season improvements is, you know, I think what we were looking for. So you're going to have a couple guys step up. Outside shooting has been the Achilles heel of this squad for the last couple of years. And, you know, if they can develop, you know, some outside shooting and teams have to respect at least one or two guys from the outside, I think it opens up the middle of the floor. You know, it opens up opportunities for Janai Broome and, you know, Dylan Cardwell to do their thing down low. And, you know, for Auburn, like to play an inside out game a little bit, right? So, again, that you toss it down to Janai, who they already respect. If it's not there, he kicks it back out and kill him with the 3, right?
If Janai Broome can become an elite passer from the post, he will have a big time career ahead of him in the NBA. I don't think he's quite star material because of the athleticism, but he knows how to score in the post. He knows how to defend. If he learns how to pass out of that post, and you can count on him to like really run an offense through, because he's going to get a lot more isolation opportunities if he's playing in the league. But if he learns how to pass out of that because he is an effective scorer, he's going to be a guy that could have a long career, man. But I think that's really the one flaw in his game, is that I can't count on you right now to just get a touch every time down court, because if it's not a scoring opportunity, he has tended to turn the ball over a little bit out of those post touches. But if he gets that part of his game together, look out. Look out for Janai Broome. Appreciate the super chat here from Lawrence Robinson. He says, appreciate the shout out. Lawrence, once again, we definitely appreciate you being here with us on a consistent basis. And always good to see you in the live chat, my guy. Good question here from P Pass, who says, how does LSU have 12 wins? It is called
weak non-conference, right?
Weak non-conference schedule is the answer to that.
Cream puffs, super sharp and soft.
Yeah. I mean, that's the same answer as to why Mississippi State had as many wins as they did early in the season. They're non-conference. They were out there dominating teams that weren't very good.
Yeah.
So you look a lot better in those games.
Yeah. And then you get the conference play, and it's like, oops. Yeah, we're not.
Yeah, which is what people thought was going to happen to Auburn, because we weren't playing great in our non-conference. They were like, oh, when we get the SEC play, it's going to be terrible. Listen, that's what happened to our Auburn. I'm going to be fair. The women's basketball team, that's exactly what happened to them. Their non-conference, they went out there and dominated. They got into conference play, and they are, to be more fair, they've literally played the best teams in the country in conference so far. Like, they had to play South Carolina.
Yeah.
They've played
LSU. National champions, right?
They've played Ole Miss. Yeah, South Carolina's the defending national champion. LSU has got a great team in women's basketball this year. Ole Miss, a great team in women's basketball. So they've played the top half of the conference coming into conference play. And they've been down some of the best players on the team. I don't think that they've been completely healthy getting into the SEC play, but that's the same thing that happened to them. They played great non-conference against teams that they were supposed to beat and beat them handily. They got into conference play, and it's like, okay, the level of the competition is starting to level out here, and you're starting to see that separation. And that's what's going to happen here. Florida apparently is currently winning against... Who are they playing right now? Because I see people, the comment here from Dietz that says, if Florida wins this game, who's Florida playing tonight? I'm not looking at it.
No.
Somebody put it in the chat, because I don't feel like looking it up. Who Florida's playing tonight. Let's see. So let's pivot here. Let's pivot here. I don't have a great way to pivot into this, but we're going to talk a little football. I guess it's a good way. We got one comment here. Oh my God, Byron Cowart talking about disappointing. He still made it to the league, though.
Yeah, I think he transferred to Maryland after he left Auburn. Yeah. And they got him to the league, so good for him.
They were playing Texas A&M and lost. Okay, all right. All right, but yeah, so Byron Cowart is one of those guys. So and this is how I'm going to segue into the football conversation. Who's the Byron Cowart right now of this class coming in, a freshman? And when I say the Byron Cowart, I mean the guy who's coming in with the extreme amount of hype, but you don't want to see have the Byron Cowart results. Of the freshmen that we brought in and signed in early signing day, is there a guy who you look at and you say to yourself, everybody hype this dude up, if he doesn't pan out, it's going to look real bad?
I don't know if that guy exists in this class, honestly. Right?
You don't think so? Yeah, I got a name right now off the top of my head.
I mean, you got the 16th ranked recruiting class, right?
I got a name though.
Okay, to me, I'm not sure that guy exists. Where Auburn is currently ranked. I mean, depending on you look at, I mean, they've got the 18th ranked recruiting class. I think maybe if I had to pick a guy, you're looking at a guy like Keldrick Falk.
That's exactly the name I was
right. Yeah, I mean, I'm maybe looking at Keldrick Falk, and honestly, maybe Wilkie Denard.
Nah, for me, it's Falk. And maybe I see Lawrence jump in here saying maybe the DB we flipped from Ohio State. That's Kayan Lee that he's talking about there. But yeah, for me, it's Keldrick Faulk, man. People made a big deal about this flip happening. He is a highly talented guy coming out, a rush end. He's to the level, I guess, to your point, there's no like consensus 5-star, possibly number one at your position guy that's in this class for Auburn right now. So it's not going to be to the level of hype necessarily coming in. But I do think that Faulk is a guy who a lot of Auburn fans are super excited about, and he's supposed to be this difference maker, this playmaker. If he doesn't pan out, man, I think that's going to be probably, if he doesn't pan out, he'd be the most disappointing guy, I think, from this class.
Yeah,
my
for
opinion
sure.
right now.
Well, development has got to be a thing, and if we get when we get Hugh Freeze on, one of the things that I want to ask him about is that system for development. He touted quarterback development, but the truth is that that's not the only position that Auburn needs development at, right? So development at linebacker is going to be really important. The DB room looks solid. I think they brought back in Wesley McGriff to coach DB. So he's a guy that's been at Auburn before, but also has coached at the pro level. Offensive line development is going to be super important because that's probably the most developmental position in football, in college football, right? Guys need to develop their bodies, technique. They need to be physically ready to play at this level. And it's just very difficult, I think, to come in and start as a freshman. So it takes multiple years before most guys can see the field at offensive line, unless you just have a bunch of attrition and you just have to play freshmen. Right. So, he's got to have a plan for all that. I want to hear his trust in the guys that he's tasked with that. Right. To develop in those positions. So what kind of system are they going to run, and how is he going to have his linemen made? Again, we made much ado about how Gus just, liked them small and light and nimble. And it worked when you had a dynamic QB, and it looked rough at times when you didn't. Right. So going into talking about what Hugh Freeze's system is going to be, how his linemen are going to play. Are you going to put big boy linemen on the field, or are you going to put hurry up, no huddle linemen on the field like Gus had? I think that most fans are over the Gus system, right? They're over the hurry up, no huddle. The rules have caught up to that sort of football, and they want to see something different, right? Because now you're seeing teams like Georgia who are big and fast on both sides of the ball, and he's going to have to make guys big and fast. And they're going to have to be able to do those things while playing, with their weight up, essentially.
Right.
So
yeah, I talked about this before on the defensive side, but we can say the same thing on the offensive side about how there's just not an abundance of quality offensive linemen out there that are big, fast, strong. Right. Like you can have a combination of those things where you guys have a guy that's big and fast, but maybe he's not that strong. You can have a guy that's big and strong, but maybe not that fast. You have a guy that's big and strong or strong and fast, but maybe not that big. Having the combination of all those things is a difficult thing. And usually the same schools are getting those guys in bundles. You might have one or two stray away from that, but it's difficult to put 5 guys out there that are all going to be big, fast, strong. So you have to decide, what kind of football do we want to play? If I can only get big and strong guys, then we're not going to play fast. If I can only get fast and big guys, then we're not going to try to play power football, right? Like you just have to decide what kind of football you're going to play with the kind of people that you have, or you have to understand this is the kind of football we play, recruit to that. Right. And so I think sometimes, unfortunately, a lot of coaches do get married to star ratings and not fit. And hopefully Hugh Freeze is not a guy who's not married to his fit more than he is to the star rating of players.
Absolutely.
Or who he is married more to his fit than he is to the star rating, I should say.
Yeah. Again, he is potentially or admittedly giving up play calling this year.
Yeah.
After calling plays his entire career. I'm not sure. Listen, I asked this question during the presser, and he hinted that he would be open to that. Because there are some guys coming in who have some ideas and concepts and schemes that may improve on what he can do. But, he also feels like he's got some things in his bag that will make this offense great as well, too. Alignment between offensive coordinator and head coach seemed to be a problem with the last staff, from what we were told. And if these guys are aligned, then I'll be interested to see what this looks like, because if for some reason, Ike, the offense is not flowing the way that Hugh would like, does he take the reins back as far as play calling is concerned? And, what does that do to your offensive coordinator, right? In terms of his confidence and, what that looks like, because you went out and you handpicked this guy, right? And if you have to take play calling back from him because you called plays your whole career and you're now at Auburn experimenting with giving that up.
Right. Yeah, and I think that's going to be an interesting thing, right? Like, does he just say, like, because I think that's where Gus got in trouble a lot. I think that's where we're going to see if Jimbo gets in trouble with this, right? If like you try to let go of it, but then it's like they do a couple of things you would have done, and you're like, nah, just let me do it. Let me do it. Don't worry about it. Right. And that's part of being a good manager or being a good boss or a CEO, is like knowing how to relinquish duties to people who can do their job and then helping them get better at that job as they progress.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we've got an offensive head coach. I expect offense to show
absolutely
promise and improvement in year one for the self-proclaimed, quick turner, fixer, rounder, right? Mm-hmm. Like, we need to see that. I think fans just need to see progress in the spring. It doesn't have to be a completely polished product, but that progress needs to be clear and evident.
Yeah.
Right. So, you get 15 practices, and then by 8A, what does it look like?
Yeah.
Right?
And that's another thing to note. It's 15 practices, right? Like, it's not, I mean, I know people think off season and it's not, there's not a lot of practices that you're going to get and a lot of reps that are going to happen for people to like, for there to be polished. To your point, it ain't going to be look polished right now, but it does need to look like competency. Right.
Yeah. Competency is a good word for it.
Philip Coleman says, I would say Cobb also, as far as highly touted freshmen coming in who could potentially bust out if they don't live up to the hype. Yeah, he could definitely be one of those guys. We don't really bust on running backs a lot, right? Like running backs, usually we've done a good job, and props to Cadillac for sure since he's been here, of finding talented running backs who have lived up to the hype or exceeded the hype, because I don't know that anybody was sitting here hyping up Jarquez Hunter, but I'd be damned if he ain't going to be one of the best running backs in the country next year.
Yeah, that's a fact. Like, listen, Cadillac might be one of the only position group coaches that's sleeping well at night, thinking that he's got his guys.
Yeah,
right?
He's got a room full of talent, 3-4 deep, that anybody would love to have one of those guys highlight their room.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, from, Jarquez Hunter to Damari Alston to Jeremiah Cobb, or to the guy coming in from South Florida. His name is escaping me right now. But it's going to be awesome to see what they do. We got some, JG told us that they really like the South Florida kid and what he can do. And we might see him on special teams.
Yeah, for sure.
Making plays, which is exciting because I think that's an area of improvement for Auburn as well, too. I liked Keontae Scott's aggressiveness in the punt return, but on kickoff return, if there's, there's room for this kid, hey, let's see it. Let's see what he can do, man, because in the SEC, a special teams, play or two could be the difference between winning and losing against some of the better teams, right? Flipping the field on special teams because you made a good decision to either catch the ball and return it, let it go out the back of the end zone, or like just guys who are going to make good decisions in that regard. And this kid is bringing that experience in. So that could be a plus. That could be an undervalued plus or overlooked plus for Hugh Freeze in year one.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to seeing special teams be able to flip the field a couple of times. We're about to get out of here, but this is a very good question. We hadn't talked about it yet. A-Day has been announced. Are we sending people to A-Day this year? Last year, we sent like 10 people or something like that, man. We had like 5 pairs of tickets or something like that we did. I don't see why not. I don't know. Have they announced ticket sales yet for A-Day? I don't think so.
Yeah, like when you say sending people there, do you mean like us sending us, like our people?
Or no, I think he means, are we going to buy tickets and give them away like we did last year?
Yeah, I think we had like 30 tickets to A-Day or something.
Oh, was it 30? I don't remember how many we did. We did a group of them last year. So
yeah, so we'll see.
We had a whole section of people that were our guys at A-Day last year. So we can A-Day tickets usually are like $10. So we can probably send some people to A-Day. We can figure that out.
Yeah, for sure.
But if you guys want to continue to see us do that, Mike G, tell the people how they can contribute to the pot.
Hey, listen, become a member. This is the best way to support our content with a small monthly contribution. Our community is growing. As they grow, so is our Green Name Gang community. Become a patron member or supporter if you wish. We appreciate everybody who just subscribes and watch. But for those of you who go the extra step, we've thrown in some extra perks for you guys for supporting us monthly so that we can continue to grow and bring you guys even more content than we've already been bringing you. Listen, gift the membership of the War Report. This allows somebody else to become part of the community and see how awesome it is to be part of the Green Name Gang. If you are not a member and you're subscribed and you interact with our channel at a high level, you are more likely to be on the receiving end of one of these gifted memberships. Once it's over, you can make the decision about whether you want to continue to make that monthly contribution and stay part of the Green Name Gang. We appreciate everybody who does that. Congratulations to our giveaway winner tonight, War Eagle Oil. I want to thank them for sponsoring the channel. Business at the War Report always, and also visit the War Report shop. We've got lots of great gear in the War Report shop for you guys. So if you didn't win the t-shirt tonight, you can go just buy one. It's always there ready for you guys. We've got lots of other dope gear in there as well. Want to take time to push the Auburn Express podcast. Listen, guys, we're on podcast, so it's a little easier to just listen to us in audio form. If you're on your way to work and you want to listen to the War Report, we've got content there that we do not put on YouTube. So Mike Mack and Memes, Amen Corner. I've got Ike Jones. I got Paul Mahari from the Georgia side. We've got other guys in there just chopping it up SEC style. You don't want to miss that content. It's a great conversation. So check us out. You can listen to the Morning Drop on podcast. Guys, we're bringing you tons of content here in every form we possibly can. Support us on Apple iTunes. Hit that subscribe button, download, and make sure that you are getting your content in audio format. The Rogue Shop sponsors the War Report. Use code REPORT to get 15% off, right? All the great stuff they've got going on there. If you need products for sleep, stress, anxiety, the Rogue Shop has you covered. So rogueshop.com. Use code REPORT, 15% off. They're a great sponsor of the War Report. Shout out to our guy Richard for sponsoring the channel. We appreciate you guys.
Yes, indeed. And we appreciate all of you. Make sure you go ahead and share the video, man. I know it's over, but people can still see the great conversation we had during the game and post game. Make sure you like the video before you get out of here. I know you guys have other things to do. Before you get out of here, give us a thumbs up on the video. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. If you're just in here casually watching, please give us a subscription. That doesn't cost you any money to hit that subscribe button. Even if you hate us, listen, you can subscribe to us and still, hate us for the rest of your days. We'll be all right. Follow us on social media if you want to know all the things that we've got coming up. Twitter and Instagram, Facebook at the War Report, and we are TW Report on TikTok. Hey. We are getting out of here, man. As always.
Wait. I think we got some quick super chats here.
Oh man, I totally missed that. My bad, Joe Kyle.
I got Joe Kyle. Thanks for the show, Miss C-Dub, but he deserves a break. Can't wait for C-Dub to come back and share his news with you guys. Blake Robinson, gotta drop a little of my OT money to you gentlemen for being late, not able to be as active live here lately, but still love you gentlemen and watch your replays. Blake is a longtime subscriber and and patron, so we appreciate Blake for this, man. Thanks for joining us late. Better late than never. So
absolutely. Yeah, we appreciate everybody for coming through. All right, man, we're about to get out of here. No morning drop tomorrow morning, but we do have some more content that's going to be hitting you guys tomorrow. So we got, are we ready for the interview tomorrow?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so Cole Kublik tomorrow morning on the War Report, Building Rapport. We got Cole Kublik dropping for you guys tomorrow. I got another film session coming for you guys tomorrow. So we got plenty of content that's going to be coming out for y'all. So y'all stay locked in here with the War Report, and we will continue to do our due diligence and make sure that y'all get the dopeness. We're out of here, man. Until the next time, War Eagle, peace.